Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Namdong Asiad Rugby Stadium as the 2019 Asia Rugby Championship returns to Korea for round 3. Korea hosting Hong Kong. This will be Hong Kong's first appearance in the series. They will have watched in, very interested as Malaysia and Korea duelled it out in the first 2 rounds. Korea getting the better of the Malaysians. Hong Kong, of course, are the reigning champions. Let's take a look at some action.
After a convincing win at home in week 1 of the Asia Rugby Championship, Korea travelled to Kuala Lumpur for the return leg versus Malaysia. Malaysia struggled with the wet conditions early on, but after 2 unconverted tries from the visitors, Mohamed Zahib got the hosts on the board with this penalty shot. Malaysia then levelled the match 5 minutes later, but captain Na Kuan Yeung answered moments later, streaking down the short side to restore Korea's lead. With half-time looming, replacement Shin Hyung-song spun out of a tackle and touched down under the posts, putting Korea firmly in control. Lim Jun-hui put the finishing touches on the evening and Korea ran out, 38-16 winners.
So there we go, 2 weeks ago, having a big night out in Malaysia, running in some amazing tries, and they sit on top of the log with the full 10 points, picking up the 2 bonuses, 90 points for, I think it's 14 tries for, and the Malaysians sitting there with 0 points. And now on to Hong Kong. They've travelled over here to Korea to take on the Koreans. They've had the better of the Koreans over the last few seasons. At this fixture last year, the Koreans went down 21-30 in a very last minute effort. Let's have a look at the starting lineups then. Hong Kong, we've got 3 debutants. Number 7, Callum McCulloch and Harry Sayers and Paul Altea at the right wing, and 15. Only 6 players in that starting 15 are in double figures of caps. It's a very inexperienced international-wise side, and a big day for Jack Neville starting at 10. Liam Slatham is the skipper from scrum half. And the Koreans, captained by their charismatic prop, Na Kuan Yeung, leading try scorer in this series so far with 2 tries. Who can forget that burst down the wing against Malaysia 2 weeks ago? 6 changes to their starting lineup, and it's all about their bench. But look at that back line, plenty of talent. Keep your eyes out for number 12, Jang Song Min, 15, Lee Jai Bok. As mentioned, the Korean bench, 8 players there, 7 are university students, averaging about 21 years of age, whereas the Hong Kong side has brought a very experienced bench. That's going to tell late in the game, no doubt. Okay, now we're just preparing for the players to come out. I will introduce my co-commentator, Jed Thine. Good afternoon, Jed.
Good afternoon, Grant. Good afternoon, viewers. Right across the Asian region and reaching into homes, I think also outside of the region, into the Pacific. Hello, New Zealand. Hello, Australia. And hello to all the friends and family of the Hong Kong side, no doubt, tuned in, getting ready for this Canada national matchup in the Asian Rugby Championship.
So big moments for the debutants for Hong Kong. As mentioned, 2 young players at the back there, Paul Altea and Harry Sayers. Big moments for them. Hong Kong may be their first game since November repechage, but they have been playing global rapid rugby with the South China Tigers. Standing by now for the national anthems. First, Hong Kong Chinese national anthem, followed by the Korean national anthem. A little bit of breeze down there, running across your screen from left to right. Quite a stiff breeze, actually. Otherwise, perfect conditions here. The sun is not out. It was raining heavily on Thursday and Friday. Pitch is nice and dry, so very good conditions here. So there we have it. The scene is set here. It's world ranked 25 Hong Kong visiting world ranked 30 Korea. The big questions here, what has Korea learned over the last 2 rounds? They've been blooding young players. They've got some experienced players coming back into the side today. There is the Hong Kong coach hiding behind the bar there, right on the right-hand side, Andrew Hall. His first run of the reins as Lee Jones steps aside to let Andrew take the lead head coaching role here, flanked by Craig Hammond. And there is the Korean coach also hiding away there, Coach Seo. Big moments for him. And our officials for today with the whistle from Japan, Tasuku Kawahara, Teruhisa Kajiwara on one side and Charlie Brown from Singapore on the other. And our TMO is Greg Hinton from Mongolia, an Australian-born, Mongolian-dwelling individual. Here we go. It's going to be Han Kyu-min to get things underway.
First off, time on.
Big moments in these early exchanges. Very big packs going at each other. That one floating down towards the 10 metre. Up nicely for that one was James Cunningham. He puts his head down and plows into the blue shirts. Ben Higgins plays pivot. Liam Slatham skippering today there in 9. There's an early break now for Ben Axton Burrett. Big hole opening up there straight away, already a concern. Higgins again on the double round, getting involved, the Valley prop. Slatham sees Sullivan to the right. He's got Grant Kemp, the big Valley prop there, trundles it up, the big concrete mixer, places it nicely. Just one man over the top of that, Alex Post now, his turn. His first taste of Asian rugby. Slatham goes with the box kick. It's deep. It's too deep for the chase, just marginally. And it's a good chase indeed by Harry Sayers. Takes him to the ground. Lee Jai Bok. Good take from Lee Jai Bok. But good chase from Sayers. His first bit of action for the young man on debut. Bit of confusion here. And just bobbled on the floor there. And an interesting opening passage there, Jed.
Well, we'll see what happens when both these outfits settle down. It's going to be good to see the likes of young Paul out here, some homegrown talent out of Valley Club in Hong Kong, represented well at under 20 level. He's an attacking player, plenty of pace. Of course, Harry Sayers, well, he is a genuine flyer. And he's going there. He tends to get him a long way down the track very, very quickly. So it's good strike power for Hong Kong against Korea. Let's see what it's going to be like in set piece time. Very interesting matchup.
Huge front row for the Koreans. Definitely got the weight advantage. Kane Bocoat back there from the Scottish club. And in 7, it's Callum McCulloch, football club. He's on debut. James Cunningham on this side in 6.
Grant Kemp's going to be making a very, very big impact early on. He's the big man up front for Hong Kong at number 3.
Crutch.
And he's up against the Korean skipper, Na Kwon Young, a capable scrummager himself. So this is an attacking scrum, good position. The backs are up flat. Hartley is just out of sight. He's just inside the back line, inside Jack Neville's shoulder, going for the penalty. The tactics have worked. There's high fives all round, and Grant Kemp looks very happy with himself as well.
Well, he should do too. Fairly neutral style hit. Kempy's got right in there. Scooped out the Korean skipper and driven them on. William Sladen was getting a fair bit of attention as well from his opposite number on the put-in, but here's a fairly regulation 3 points for Matthew Rosley.
Grant Kemp just in his 3rd test match today. He's been around for a while. He hasn't been qualified for that long. He'll be loving these conditions. Bit of real grass to play on. This is Matt Rosley, one of the 5 starting Valley players in this Hong Kong squad today. The oldest man on the field too, at 32. He was almost fearing that he would have to fly half in this series. Jack Neville has stood up, taken that role. Watched Matt kicking these just before kick-off from 40, 50 metres straight and true. He's into a stiff breeze though. In fact, the breeze has changed direction. The assistant referees like the look of that one, and so it's Hong Kong first on the board with 3 points through Matthew Rosley. And not a good sign for the Korean scrum straight off the bat there.
No, not at all. I thought there might be a settling in period here for Hong Kong. They've only had the one warm-up game against South China Tigers. I think that performance was, well, pretty much the script. The national team working out the winners on that occasion.
So Han Kyu-min with the restart goes a little bit deeper this time, and Slatham has a look and he's knocked it on. He'll be furious with himself. He's a perfectionist, Liam Slatham. He had a little bit too much time there perhaps, so the coaching squad in front of us clutching their temples with their fingers. There we see it again. So first chance for Korea inside the red zone. Go and they get the scrum right first though, Jed.
Well, it'd be good to see some return action here from Korea. And interesting chance to test out this midfield for Hong Kong as well.
Referee says that one slightly off the mark, and talking of midfields, they've got a very formidable midfield, the Koreans. Jang Seong-min in 12, and Kim Nam-mok in 13. These two have been around, two of the more experienced fellas in this Korean squad. Real quality. Kim Nam-mok ran amok, didn't he, against Malaysia. They rested a lot of players for that match and blooded some new youngsters, and it took a few experienced guys to put the momentum in their favour. Malaysia win that game for a good 30-40 minutes. Here we have young Lee Myung-jun, 28 years old, from the Hyundai club. This is his home track. It's a nice scrum from Korea. Come around the corner of the big one. Here goes Jang, and he goes straight into Rosley and Cunningham, who take him down. Good defence, but good seeing Jang take on the line. Here's Han Kyu-min, the little fly half, takes it to the 5 now. This is good from Korea. They're nicely set. There's a nice red line though. Look at Kemp. Grant Kemp's all over that one, the big man. Into the line comes Lee Jai Bok. Gets taken down by Harry Sayers. Ben Exton Barrett it was. Here comes one of the big locks, Kim Tae-wan. The Armed Forces Athletic Corps. So far, this Hong Kong defence holding. Here goes Na. He's explosive from short distances. Good tackle from Alex Post. They go wide to Jang. There's an overlap here. This looks good. It's Jong Yong-sik, and they cut Hong Kong open for the first try of the game, and in the end it was relatively easy. 5 or 6 phases. They put it through the hands, and smiles all round, and so they should. It's a good start for Korea.
Well, Korea managed to turn the motor over, and what a shot of injection. Was it like the injection of pace and directness from the Korean attack led off the scrum by Jong. Just went flying in. There was a great run off the base of the scrum. It really caught the Hong Kong defence flat-footed. In fact, the whole line had dumped and they were going nowhere pretty quickly. I thought they might have lost their way with about 3 or 4 phases before they scored. Let's keep an eye on this boy, Lee Myung-jun, the halfback for Korea. He is looking pretty snappy. I like the cut of his jib.
Yeah, he's been coming on for the last few seasons, hasn't he? He's a real star. And they changed the guard a couple of seasons ago, and this guy, he's also new himself to the scene. Han Kyu-min, 24-year-old, just one step, it's on its way, looks quite tidy, and the flags are going to go up. Yes, they do, so they take the extras here early, and it's Korea with a handy 7, and that'll give them some confidence. We know they're a confidence team. They made it very difficult here last year for Hong Kong. They really had to grind out 21-30 victory in the end. As we just look at it, it's just a matter of hands, and it was Connor Hartley had too much work to do, and they found the space nicely, Korea, and they've been a bit guilty in the first 2 rounds of not being able to put guys away, so that's a good start to them.
Very good.
Rosley goes deep. There's no challenge on that. It goes back to Han Kyu-min, and he gets right under that one, and the wind's swirling around yet. It seems to be going from left to right and back again, so Not sure who it favours at this stage.
Just not entirely sure whether there's enough moving around out there to be causing anybody any problems, but it can swing in here pretty stiffly when it wants to. And the far touchline that we're looking at now can be quite friendly even in windy conditions.
There's communication there between Post and Sullivan, and here come Korea again. They got their tails up. Fantastic stuff. Jong Yong Sik inside to Ben Exton Barrett. That's good thieving from him. He saves it. Saves the day for Hong Kong. Kemp's the first cab off the rank. Goes hard into the little fly half. Gives him a little rub in the face on his way down. He'll love that. Neville now takes it to the line. Cunningham's on his shoulder. Gets barreled back. Good defence by the blue line. Just inside their own half. Neville again. Short ball to Boko, and he wasn't expecting that. A little double pump from Neville, and maybe what you'd expect for a team that hasn't yet really played a lot together. So it'll be a scrum just inside the half.
Well, new first 5-8. Some pretty new combinations and experienced lineup. Hong Kong's have to battle through and find themselves in this game. Yes, they've got some very, very stiff competition right now. As Korea of the two teams, much more organised.
They've got two down a narrow blind here. They've got about 20 metres of blind to work with. Only Harry Sayers defending on that side for Hong Kong. First and foremost, the scrum. They do go blind. Here goes Lee Mun Young. Gives it to Lee Jai Bok, who joins the line. It's a good tackle from Sayers. Boko helps him, and now a little error there from the Koreans. This time it's Kim Dae-won. Took his eye off the ball there. They're guilty of a lot of handling errors in the first two rounds. Just basic stuff like that will stop any momentum. You'd expect now a team 3 matches in would be getting some of those a bit better. So Hong Kong with a scrum about 15 metres inside their own half. We know that Jack Neville is very comfortable taking the line on for his country and for his
Both wingers
club,
up.
Kowloon.
Crutch. Both wingers up.
Very good friend. Fenn's very strong upstairs.
Fight.
Cause some confusion in the opposition backs. Harry Sayers is just off his wing behind Jack Neville's right shoulder, and referee not happy with the engagement there, so a relieving penalty here, and Rosley steps forward.
Good tussle. Good tussle. 12 minutes. This is some excellent rugby. Good to be tuned into this.
Korea have not won this tournament since way back to 2002. It's been a long time. They've won the tournament 5 times. We're in the 32nd edition this year. Hong Kong with just the one win, that coming last year, and some may say just because Japan were absent. They're absent this year, so there's a chance to do the double if they can get their act together. Off the top, from post, Sladen feeds Kim. He's been busy. Players running all through the ruck area there. Very untidy. It's gone loose though. Here is Lim Jun Hoi. First appearance in the series for him, the 26-year-old.
Advantage over.
The Koreans always look a little bit doubtful on the counter-attack. Once they get quick turnover, they don't always capitalise on it. They've got some brilliant strike runners. They can't find them all the time. This is Kim Dae-won. Will they go to the boot this time? Yep, Lee Jai Bok onto his left. Tries to scoot it over the sideline. That's a handy little kick from Lee Jai Bok. Sayers goes quickly. Gets the call from Neville in his own 22. Decides to put it up for Sayers to chase after. It's gone a bit deep. That's going to hit the grass though. And it's fallen into the arms. Dodgy stuff from Korea. Off the grass to Han Kyu-min, and they set it again. Back to where they started. Lee Min-jun there calling out the orders. Shah goes in at first receiver, the number 8. Taking it forward is Kim Jeep, and good tackle from Ben Higgins there. Kim Dae-won goes to ground again, just going across the field here, a couple of phases, and they've ended up conceding a penalty, holding on there.
Ball is available.
So unable to really make any territory there. Hong Kong with the quick throw, and it was the right thing to do. Take it back to the Koreans and get back in their own half. And Rosley's going to have a shot.
Hong Kong managing to absorb that try. And you're working hard to get some mojo running out there, the visiting side. And you're right, Korea, when they get the ball from set piece and they work through their sequences, they seem to be quite happy to work away with them. But as soon as it goes a little bit off script, and they're looking for those guys to try and create something, those X-factor guys, they seem to have real problems getting the balls to them. So a lot to work on for Korea, but they're looking formidable. And this is a good test for Hong Kong. This is what we want to see in the Asia Rugby Championship.
Rosley then, around about 35 metres out, straight in front. Wind has died down. This shouldn't trouble him. And it doesn't. Up go the flags again. So Rosley 2 from 2. Hong Kong bumped themselves up to 6. And trail Korea now by 7 points to 6 here. The crowd are absolutely over the moon about that. Saw a DB Pirates flag down there earlier. Some support. Expat Hong Kongers over here. Trying to get this crowd going a little bit here. It's 15 minutes into the game. Here's Ben Exton Barrett, tries to set something for his forwards to latch on to. Boco's at first receiver. He's got Sullivan on the shoulder, goes to ground. Back to Neville finally. He's got plenty of time. He's found the turf. This will be Jiang Zhongmin. Sorry, it's Lee Jo Bok. The back three are all good runners. You've got to make sure of your kicks today.
Not putting back, Hong Kong.
Especially your chase. It comes out the other side there, and they've been penalised again there. Turned over by Hong Kong.
Still rock.
So Lee Jo Bok running that one back into traffic and getting a little bit isolated.
Yep. Yep.
Not a bad clearance by Jack Neville. Certainly got my eye on these two locks for Hong Kong this weekend. It's potentially appearing they could be together for quite some time, and appearing that the Hong Kong coaching staff be quite keen to build around Finn Field, Cole Sullivan. Two young guys, big guys, fit, athletic.
Looks like Post is going to field, finds him, drops it into the hands of Slatham. They come forward on the front foot. Kane Boco's lurking in midfield with his back row partner Cunningham. Quick hands now. Ben Exton Barrett gets blindsided there from the flanker. He does well. Finfield's on hand. Gets the big frame going a couple of inches more. Neville now takes that line on. He gets a good shot from Na Kwon Yong, and the skipper somehow gets underneath him. Good tackle by the big loose head prop. Coming up out of the blocks fast was Kim Jeep, and this is Ben Exton Barrett. He's ran about 15 metres sideways. Couldn't shake the defender off though. Cunningham kept Na with another big hit. The skipper's trying to inspire his troops here. Neville finds that the blue line's coming up too quick, so this time he pops it over the top. Lear's back there, he takes it. And Harry says, well, it was just 2 metres too long. It could have been interesting.
Hats off to Korea there. It's good, strong, aggressive defence, and even though Hong Kong have plugged a few metres out of them, their combination's still struggling at the moment. Runners overrunning the mark, ball not quite on target. Korea, they'd have to complement their inside defence at the moment. The fringe is very stiff.
They've not found touch though, and here comes Hong Kong, just trying to give it to the big man, Connor Hartley, one of the biggest men out there. Almost 2 metres tall, 115 kilos. The biggest wingers on the world circuit, you've got to say. Missing the tackle there was Lee Kusong. Lots of ball for Neville now. He's starting to run the show a bit. They get the wide one out to Harry Sayers. The in and the out. He manages to get out of the clutches of Jang Jong-min. Not quite able to take it on the inside was Callum McCulloch. He could have been in for a try there on debut, but they've still got it, Hong Kong. Neville now takes the line on. Jinx out of the first one. Spotted the mismatch. Finn Fields the first cab there. He's got Boko with him. Good tackle round the ankles by Jong Yon Sik. What's he doing in the other right winger? Straight in front of the post now. Here's Higgins with Sullivan. Alex Post goes into dummy half. Boko takes another. And the Koreans are not rolling away by the looks of it. Yep, the arm is out, so free ball here for Slatum. Good tackle on him. Pops it up to Post. Field with the fancy basketball pass over the top to Ben Exton Barrett. And, sorry, it's Connor Hartley. And too much pressure, and they get their first try of the series through this huge man, Connor Hartley.
Well, unorthodox might be the word you'd want to use with that. They've been able to apply pressure, and they're very keen on playing the game very close to the game line, Hong Kong. That might ultimately be the difference between these two sides, even though Hong Kong are struggling with the combination at the moment. Lovely ball over the top from Finn Field. Hartley, well, he only had to fall over. He was that close, wasn't he? Look at this.
That's good enough there, and he's pretty happy about it.
Starting to see a few phases come on line for Hong Kong at the moment, but Korea, I don't think, should be looking to drop their lip. Got themselves away to a good, strong start. They just need some ball.
Yeah, Hong Kong just seem more confident as the phases build. They have a plan. They know what they're all doing. As the Koreans, after 3 or 4 phases, can get a bit sporadic, a bit loose, a bit chaotic. That's the way they play. And they'll need to score again soon after this just to stay in this game. Hong Kong, you sense, are going to grow into this game. So they find their combinations, their mojo, they get momentum, and Rosley fades that one across the post. First miss for him today. So Hong Kong are now on 11 points. It's Korea's 7. In this first half here at the Namdong Asiat Rugby Stadium, about 30-40 kilometres out of Seoul, there in Cheon, purpose-built for the Asian Games. 2016. Getting us underway again is Han Kumin. Goes even deeper this time, and Slater won't drop this one. Takes it nicely, bops it into Boko. Ben Exton Barrett there just bounces into the first defender there, gets rid of him. Higgins now keep the two Valley bookends coming together. And this time back to Rosley. He's got a thundering kick on him, and he's banged that down to halfway out on the full. That's a very good exit from Hong Kong.
Possibly Hong Kong just starting to get their hands on the steering wheel here at the moment. 7-11 hasn't been the most organised 11 points from Hong Kong. It shouldn't be too critical of them. It's their first game of the tournament.
Kim Jeep gets it into the hands of Kim Johan, and they try and set something in midfield. This is the big number 8, Cha Sung Kun. It's good quick ball. They get it through the hands. Jang Song Min, the superstar, gets taken in a lovely tackle down low by Exton Barrett. Lee Myung-gun. Big prop there. Lee Kyu-sang is the first receiver. He shows some nice soft hands to pass it on out, and fumble there. Desperately missed by Han Koo-min. And that's a coach killer, isn't it? There's been too many of those right on the halfway. So an attacking scrum here right in the middle of the field for Hong Kong.
I just think Hong Kong at the moment are maybe able to keep the wrapper on things by keeping the game so close to the gain line. Flat, fast. You saw how they swept up on Korea when they tried to attack down the grandstand side. And Hong Kong, now if they take time and space away from the Korean playmakers, they're going to cause them trouble.
There'll be one man watching these scrums very closely. That'll be Hong Kong scrum coach Brett Wilkinson. Didn't make it on the strip, back at home, watching the feed now. Checking out how his charges are handling the pressure from this Korean front row. Looking down the bench there for the Koreans there. Substitute front row are very young and inexperienced. They're aged 20, 21 and 22. Big gentlemen, 20 kilos at the age of 22, all out of the Yonsei University, so it could be an interesting time if they come on. Hong Kong, they will have Dane Jans, Dan Barlow and Jack Parfit, some wily old characters in there. Could make a big difference later in the second half. So just inside the Korean halves, Leighton feeds. They're split, they've got two to the right, Neville's to the left. Referee says use the ball. Neville it is, who beats the first tackler, but he just gets around the ankles and knocks him down. Neville throws his head back in pain. He looks like he's hurt, young Jack Neville. He's laying prone on the 10-metre line as play continues. Sladen's going to have to feed it to someone else. Rosley's gone in there. Kemp finds himself in midfield. Oh, what a beautiful ball from Kemp. That's good. Hassling running there from Axton Burrett there, but they're going to stop playing because Jack Neville almost got trundled over there by big Grant Kemp, and I'm not sure what happened there, but the medics are down there straight away. Here we go. Just got clipped. Looked like he was through.
Oh, knee to the back of the hip there, I think. That would hurt.
The face says it all, doesn't it?
No. The old magic water, the magic sponge. Some encouragement probably from the trainer. Something along the lines of toughen up.
We've got to give a shout out to Amanda Baker, the
yes,
medic down there. Yeah, she's
absolutely
been,
right.
Not often the commentators need medical attention, but we've both been queuing up at her room to receive some sort of treatment or pharmaceuticals for our ailments.
Just refreshing to be in the hands of a professional, isn't it, Grant?
Right.
Big gap again. Right, very good to the medical team, and thank you, Amanda and Dr. Lucy from Hong Kong set up for seeing the boys right.
Commentary team sponsored by Hong Kong's physio department. So here we go, another scrum straight in midfield, this time on the 10-metre. Jack Neville is up, he's tucked in to the right of Rosley. Rosley's straight behind the scrum, Neville's to his right. Paul Altier, the fullback, straight behind Rosley, the two of them. Lots of options here. The scrum is solid. They first try to milk a penalty by the looks. Boko manages it at the back, and they've done the job. Sladen goes quick. Doesn't want Rosley having another pot. Over the top to Sayers. It was a bit of a tricky one for the young man. He does well. Just 22 years old on debut. Postman up to Sullivan. Over the top quickly goes Yang Tae-yong. 1.96 of him. Neville there. Looks like he's struggling there, grimacing through that. Ben Axton Barrett, good run by him, taken by Jang Lo. Good pick and go by Kane Boko. Sladen now, fires it out to Neville. He's still hobbling on. Rosley takes it to ground. About 30 metres out now. Neville on the wraparound to Ben Axton Barrett. So it's Connor Hartley again, and Cunningham getting just tipped up there. He's about to pass it to Sayers and knocked it on. So desperate last gasp tackle there from the Koreans to finally end that movement. I'm not sure that Neville's going to play on much longer. He's hanging around the back there, hands on his hips.
Well, James Cunningham cut down there mid-pass. He'll be too delighted by that. We saw the heads of the Hong Kong coaches who are just sitting in front of us. We saw their heads go back and their eyes go to the sky. Still Hong Kong though, despite the untidy nature of it. find themselves territory-wise in quite a good pitch-up. Another interesting to see where their heads are at the moment, whether the mindset is to really turn the screws on Korea, who are finding it very, very difficult to get themselves out of that quarter.
Crouch.
Some big rugby fans there enjoying the afternoon here.
Point. Set.
Korea now just outside their 22, so they'll have to kick for territory. Here we go down the blind side, a good snipe from Lee Mun-Young. Kick and chase coming across as Paul Altier beats him nicely. This young 20-year-old, our first look at him, he's done well, very cool and collected. Someone told Neville he's meant to be injured.
Turn out guns. Turn out guns.
And he
Turn out guns.
gets over the halfway there, knock on, double knock on.
First blue, second red. Turn out guns.
Jackie Neville, the Kowloon flyer. There's Ben Higgins. Interestingly enough, measuring in at 1m82.
Let's go, boys.
I think they might have
Space.
forgot to ask Ben to come off the front doorstep when they took that particular measurement. I'm not saying that he's small at all. He's just not that tall. Still, Grant, wide-lead height get in the way of a good story.
Neville running freely there. He looks okay there, doesn't he?
Let's go.
I'm sure he'll play through it.
No, I think he just feels like he can live with the pain, which is admirable.
So just over 10 minutes remaining in this first half. Korea, apart from that try, haven't really had any opportunities yet. They've not managed to piece anything together. That's been down to Hong Kong's defensive pressure and just the mistakes, turnovers by the Koreans. There's a big blind here, but Sayers has come off his blind off screen. He's oh, here we go. The Koreans have won a penalty
Number one
somehow.
push inside.
And Ben Higgins gets the stare down from the match official.
Number one push
So
inside.
can they
Korea
kick for the
dominance
22
scrum.
and put some pressure on now the Koreans? Up steps Han Koo-min, and as long as he doesn't try and peel off too much, they should be in a good position.
Well, bit of territory now for Korea. See,
Korean dominance scrum also, yeah.
there you go, ball in hand.
Steps.
Opportunity to test this
Steps. Street.
Hong Kong defence, which they opened up pretty smartly in the first 5 minutes, didn't they? They superbly got direct attack, froze the Hong Kong defenders,
Number 5. Don't come
caught
closer.
them on the back foot, and just
middle.
kept slamming
One
away
step.
at the
Come
right
on, Jake.
corner.
Up you get, Jeep! Come on, Jeep!
One step 5.
Up you get, Jeep! Up you
Number 5 here, Yang Tae-young
Number 5, come closer.
from Toshiba, Brave Lupus in Japan. 196
Wow.
centimetres.
I
Not
told
the
you, number
tallest man
5.
out there. But they've got themselves a scrum here, so here we go. This will be interesting. The midfield Koreans are looking at each other. Coach
Stepping
Seo
back.
looks on.
One step back, please.
They'll be trained for this 100 times, this part of the field. They can put together 3 or 4 phases. They could trouble this Hong Kong defence just inside the 22. Expect a big shove from Kemp and Co here.
Yeah, they wanted to disrupt straight away from the scrum. Hong Kong.
Point. Set.
See where this winger comes off the blind and straight at the defence.
Scrum is solid. Cha holds it at the back. Runners coming from all over the place. Jang Xiong Min runs right over the top of Jack Neville. Here comes the second one, Kim Namuk. So the centres both having a trundle up. Now here goes Han Koo-min. The big lock there on a searching run. Comes back in on the cut, sets a platform. Kyle Sullivan with the tackle. Lee Kyu-sang, 120 kilos of him piling into the action. It's a bit scruffy though, and they've lost about 15 metres here. Higgledy-piggledy, Lee Jai-bok now. And here is the lock again, Kim Dae-won. He runs inside of James Cunningham. He gets taken by the second tackler, Kim Ji. They're on the front hook foot here, the Koreans. Jang Xiong-min, good tackle on him. By Alex Post. Good tackle by the hooker. So it settles down again. They've made no ground. Kemp with the tackle. Sullivan with him on Kim G. Here goes. Again, there's no direction here. Won a penalty though. And good defence though. The Hong Kong structure bending, buckling, but ultimately staying intact.
Number 4, never offside.
I thought from these first two drives out of the midfield, they might have Hong Kong on the ropes a bit. They've certainly dragged the penalty out of them, which is good. They want to leak points if they can. Keeps them connected, keeps the pressure on the scoreboard. Makes Hong Kong think about having to work harder earlier in the game probably than they want to energy-wise. It's a fairly standard 3-point shot. It's good, encouraging signs from Korea. They're looking competitive.
And Kumin with his second shot of the game from the Armed Forces Athletic Corps, one of the current military servers out on the field. Just to the right, 10 or 12 metres out. Shouldn't have any trouble with this. And he doesn't, so Korea finally get back. Turning the scoreboard over here. They trail by 1 point at the Namdong Asiad Stadium. It's 11 points to 10. And that was better from Korea, wasn't it? Just building a few phases, patience, and no handling errors. And if they can apply the pressure for that amount of phases, something's got to break. Penalties, line breaks. Matt Rosley with the restart now.
A little bit more variation from the Korean playmakers would be good. I think at the moment the Hong Kong defence, which has got all the play in front of them, and they just zero in and chase forward, you'd have to think they're susceptible to the chip at the moment, or just to push through the line. We'll see whether Korea look at this one coming from Korea out of their own 22.
And Kumin with the little half break there, and everyone was expecting the kick. Rosley had gone long, too long for the chasers, and the Koreans have given one little sniff, a couple of points. This is what they do. They get all excited, enthusiastic, and this is good play from the Koreans. Slayton with the tackle. Lee Kyu-min fires it away now. They're queuing up there, stamming down this right side. Lee Jai-bok joins the line. Back inside to Jang Song-min. Good tackle from Max Baxton Burrett. Oh no, here we go. It's Wang Tae-young with the error, but they were offside. So how about that from Korea? It just takes a tiny little bit of encouragement and they get onto you straight away. Sweeping down the field 60 metres. They could have a shot here to put them in front.
Yeah, well read that play by Korea, using the second man play to force it just that little bit wider. The Hong Kong defence, pretty well drilled. They like to play shape pretty strongly, don't they? But the second man play then, just putting some doubt in the defenders' minds. Opening up the flank for Korea. Good exploitation. And a chance here now to go to the lead.
Yeah, probably nearly 40 metres on the angle, just short of 40. The wind is almost breathless down there at the moment, and the fans there are on tender hooks. I think they went into the break in front last year at this fixture as well. Look at the tension in this small crowd. What they're lacking in size, they make up for in passion. That looks like it's gone to the right. He didn't like the look of it. Staring down at the tee despondently. But they're still on attack, the Koreans. Hope that doesn't put Han Kyu-min off his game. And the fans a little disappointed, but they're still down here. There's 4 minutes left in this first half.
Well, you'd be spitting tax, wouldn't you, if you're the skipper? Chance here to put Hong Kong 2 points down on the back foot. They've had all the play. They've been looking, I guess, for want of a better phrase, they've been looking the better of the two. Korea, minute by minute, they've grown in this half. Encouraging.
Rosley taking that from way back in his 22 and still gets good mileage out of it. There's the fly half. Lee Jai-bok onto that left boot of his, tries to put this one up, and coming under, it's Paul Aotea, takes it nicely, gets taken ball and all by Jong Yon-sik. Gets a couple of valuable metres forward, sets it for his supporters. That's good work from the young man. Kyle Sullivan with a big surge up to the halfway line. Timely surge from him. And they're queuing up down a very short side here. Kane Buko goes in. Looks like it was high. The flag is out. Jang Song Min's going to get penalised. So free ball here as Slater whisks it out to Neville. On a short ball goes debutant Callum McCulloch. Places it nicely. Neville again. Cunningham gets bumped. Firm and strong. Rolls out a 2. Big strong work from Cunningham. Neville again. He's really starting to run the show here. He's in everything. And they're going to go all the way back for Jang Song Min's collar shoulder tackle. Just caught around the shoulder, I think, as he fell into the tackle.
Also here, high tackle there.
Well, some hints as the man they called JC,
Yeah,
formerly the Hammer.
What's the number?
That's right, Thor.
12.
Takes
Number
5
12, high
to
tackle.
consider things from his back.
Oh.
Referee from Japan. Still, I think, an ongoing period of adjustment for this man. Likes to play a quick whistle, doesn't he?
Cunningham there got hit hard, didn't he, on a gang
9,
tackle.
captain.
He rolled out of it, but
Captain.
took a big blow around the rib area.
I'm not sure if he's run into soft tackles all day, James Cunningham.
Here we go.
Here.
Oh, yeah, he sort of rocks backwards there. Does well to
Time
keep
off.
his feet.
Post.
Scrambles another couple. He's a big, hard-nosed back row forward. And
Well, it's actually good to see him playing in the back row, isn't it? I think that's his natural position. He's been willing to carry the bucket, really, for the Hong Kong national side and play in the second row. And it's not always the choice, I think, of blindside flankers to be thought of as a smaller lock, but he's got into the tight 5. Now he's come back out again, competing for back row position. He's a leader within the pack, James Cunningham. Good to see how he adjusts.
so this one straight down the barrel for Rosley, just inside the 10 metre. And this will bump them out another 3 points. That looks okay. Rosley likes it. The assistant referees like it, so they do grab a valuable 3 points here as we close in on half time.
Number 4 of 3 substitutions.
Substitutions, Kim Dae-wan from Korea going off.
Yeah, time off. Yeah, it's correct. Yeah, it's correct. Yeah.
A few minutes left here for Korea to press the issue before half time. Who knows what can happen here? They do unpredictable quite well, Korea.
Time off.
And Kumin, where will he go this time? He's hitting the same spot each time. This time it's Boko that takes it. There's enough time to build up a hit of steam and clatter into Kwan Yong. There's the hooter, and Neville has no interest in doing anything else except popping that over the touchline. So an interesting half of rugby here in Korea. It's 1 try apiece, 2 good tries in this game, and it's on a bit of a knife edge at the moment. And it's Hong Kong leading Korea 14 points to 10 here. We'll take a short break and be back with some first half highlights in just a couple of moments.
좋은 경기 보여주고 있는 한일전 파이러츠와 한국 럭스중학교를 위해 큰 박수 부탁드립니다. 열심히 싸우는 두 팀에게 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Namdong Asiad Rugby Stadium, where it's 14-10 to Hong Kong as we look at some of the highlights from the first half. One try apiece, and this was the one to Jong Yon Sik there. One and real only opportunity, finished nicely there by the winger Jong. Jong Yon Sik, such a dangerous runner, and then it was Hong Kong over the top by Finn Field, and Connor Hartley benefiting there from some good build-up play on a free ball, penalty advantage there. So it's one try apiece. It's not setting the world on fire in terms of tries, but each team just finding its way at the moment. Some crazy stuff from the Koreans. And what are you expecting in the second half, Jed?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I expect to see Hong Kong just grow a little bit in terms of how they're performing. That was a fine kick, wasn't it, for some extra points. It's a great scoreline. Korea really looking the better for having two fairly significant games against Malaysia, and their combinations arrived on the field today looking pretty fizzed up. Hong Kong, we know they've got some hidden power there, and they certainly have a bench that could really give Korea a bit of a walloping. If they get stretched out to any particular distance, it's going to be pretty interesting.
Here we go then, looking at some of the stats down there. 5 apiece on the scrums. Although there's been some scrum penalties, there's been no tight heads. 4 handling errors each, turnovers 2 apiece. Maybe just the difference there is the penalties conceded there. Korea picking up 2 penalties late in that half, but otherwise they conceded 6. And phase play in favour of Hong Kong there. So neither team dominating at this stage. And it's going to be an interesting second half as we wait for these two teams to come out. A must-win match for Korea, really. They'll have a week off next week as Hong Kong travel to Malaysia. And then they'll come back again at Hong Kong in the 6th and final round at Football Club at the end of June, and that traditionally comes down to the decider. Last year Hong Kong putting the Koreans away and taking their first Asia Rugby Championship. There's the smiling Connor Hartley from the Hong Kong Scottish club, happy with his one try and a couple of good runs as well. I've also been impressed, Jed, with these young debutants, Callum McCulloch, Harry Sayers and Paul Altier at the back.
Well, the Hong Kong coaches will be loving McCulloch, isn't he? He's a big frame of a guy, plays a physical game from the number 7 jersey, gives him a legitimate option at line out time. He's got some good mobility. They found some good horses in the off season, I think, Hong Kong. Certainly the lure of global rapid rugby is going to be something that could bring them some more quality in terms of players.
Well, you imagine how many players are out being rested. The sevens players mainly. There's about 1,000 caps if you added up. Players like Yu Kam Shing, Max Woodward, Jamie Hood, Ben Rimini, guys like this. Nick Hewson is retired now, but he probably had 60 caps on his own. And out there with the highest caps today is Jack Parfitt, yet to take the field. He's on 27. Matt Rosley about to kick off. He's on 21, sorry. And then we've got James Cunningham on 25 and Ben Higgins on 17. The rest are in single figures. And the same goes for the Koreans. They're blooding these young university players, and I can see already on the field is Choi Seong-jok in number 20 shirt from the Kyunghae University. He's come on just at the end of the first half for the injured Kim Dae-won. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when Coach Seo starts to roll the bench here and bring on these very inexperienced young players from the universities. As we mentioned before, Hong Kong bristling with experience on their bench, so it could be a tale of the benches the final 20 minutes. We're set to go here in the second half. Matt Rosley with the ball in hand, the man from the Cape. He'll be missing his partner in crime, the Biltong Chief. If you're tuning in, Chief, welcome to the show, and everyone else tuning in around the world on various channels and Facebook. Cha takes it and pops a really dodgy, scruffy ball out straight off the bat to Han Koo-min, and coming back into the traffic, Jong Yon Sik, the try scorer, gives it to his big hooker, Kim Jeep.
Never onside.
Really look at some running here. As Kwon Yong tries to step out of one. They're on an advantage though, so confident stuff from deep inside their own territory from the kick-off there.
The third or fourth penalty Hong Kong's conceded now through offside.
Number 3, never onside. Yeah, time for number 3.
Probably hints to lack of game time under live fire conditions.
Yeah, like, yeah. Never onside. From like.
Looking kick.
Oh, sorry.
Meters gained for Korea.
Time for yeah.
See how they can
No,
get
never onside. Never onside. Oh, sorry.
second half started.
Everyone is.
That was Kim Namuk on screen there, one of the experienced players in this back line, 29-year-old from the Kepco club. They can get some clean ball off the top here and unleash this midfield pairing.
Let's go.
And that's nicely done there from Finn Field. He's got in the road of that one. They've got it back though somehow, and they struggle into the Hong Kong half.
Steps.
Lee Myung-jun organising things. How fast is that red line coming up there? Very quick and very straight. Rosley's on the wrong side though, and he can't get out of there. He looks up anguish. Here he goes, scooting away goes Lee Myung-jun. Tries to take on Paul Altea. Beautiful covering tackle from the fullback. Over the top goes Boko. He's done incredibly well to get back behind the ball, and he's turned it over there. Brilliant work from the number 8, Jack Neville now. Short ball to Callum McCulloch, and they've turned it back again to Lim Jung-hoi. Slayed him around the ankles like a little terrier. And that's the first time we've seen Jang Jong-min with the ball, the left winger there, and he gets tackled and loses the ball. Ben Axton Burrett runs out of ideas and pops it out on the full, but we'll go back to the knock-on, I think it was. Helter-skelter there, both sides.
Okay, but Kay did some great work as he turned that ball over. In Korea, though, showing absolutely zero fear of getting the show on the road. Really taking it to Hong Kong. Fascinating stuff, good to see. Here's one for the future too for Hong Kong, Alex Post. Driving force in the under-20 squad when he was part of that effort that played the Junior World Trophy in Hong Kong. Return to Hong Kong has been most impressive.
Yeah, the 23-year-old out of the Sandy Bay club. Just 2 of the Sandy Bay players, the least represented club in this match squad, 23. Quite surprising, Jed, when they won the Grand Championship final.
It is surprising, Grant. I can't understand how that's been the case.
A few players retired though over the last season. Ben Roberts, Dylan Rogers, Jack Delaforce. The McQueen's obviously out or with the 7 set up, so I think it's, most represented today is Hong Kong Scottish with 5, Valley with 5, Kowloon with 4, probably their biggest representation for a couple of seasons, so the Kowloon players on the rise.
I feel like Hong Kong have had the ascendancy at set piece time, particularly at scrum. Shown pretty good control. They haven't really tried to steamroll Korea, I think. I do think they've got the ability to do it. Let's check out Grant Kemp's form. Well, no one's really getting a chance to push anywhere, are they?
Here goes Boko. Referee said they went early, so short arm. And did he just roll that forward there? No, it's under control. Neville just powers that, smashes it into the face of the defensive line. Look at the footwork there from Jang Jong-min. He's incredibly dangerous from broken play, and I think that's around the collar there by Altea. Lucky to get away with that. I've seen players 2 weeks ago in Malaysia get yellow carded for taking someone around the collar, but Altea gets away with it this time, and Korea knock it on.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that was... Well, yeah, okay. He had a wee fish, didn't he?
Just rolled forward.
Pretty lucky. Altea.
He's come right through the Valley Fort Minis. Paul Altea, he's a product of the Valley Youth Program. It's great seeing players like that come right through and represent at international level. It really is great for clubs and great for Hong Kong.
First saw him playing for the Hong Kong under-20 side. He was a bit of a standout there. Then he had to work his way into the Valley setup, and he managed to get himself on the park there and pressed well. He's a young player. He's got plenty of rugby ahead of him. Good talent.
Here we go. The Hong Kong backs are all in a single flat line, right on the halfway line. Not sure what's cooking here.
Oh, there's a bit of jiggery pokery now. We're going to have to actually see it scrum. I can understand the short arm restarts, but I think both of these sides want to get a feel for things up front. Certainly will be helping Hong Kong now on every engage.
Kemp and Na Kwon Yong on this side. Epic tussle. Refs getting nice and close in there to see if he can make any sense of it. Two big, strong, powerful men, both 120 kilos. That's going to go nowhere at the moment.
Right in the pocket, Kempy, looking good.
Pint on top of that one. Here goes Altia. Tries to get on the outside of the little scrum half and does so. Cunningham puts his head down. Neville tries it out to Sullivan there, lurking in the midfield.
Reload, JC.
Who's off the rank now? It's the second row, Finfield. He starts to go backwards, unloads it to Ben Axton Burrett. He's done some good tidying up today behind the gain line, Axton Burrett. Managed to get them going forward each time again. Trying to float it over the top, and that was incredibly risky stuff there. There was no one in front of Jang, and he could have gone 70 there, so little bit of a let off for Hong Kong. There's options here, and Hong Kong went opting for the scrum. Andrew Holt getting onto the radio there. Maybe it's time for some substitutions.
Interesting juncture in this game. Hong Kong, they could pop the lid on Korea here. Just a bit more pressure. Another try. Give them momentum. Try after that. Just put the home side away. Still, Korea knows what they've got up the sleeve. All will be revealed from the scrum.
Stay tuned, everybody. Here we go then. Just 6 or 7 metres in from the touch line there. The scrum half, there's just stupid play from him. Absolutely inexperienced. Very naive.
I'm pretty sure you wouldn't do that at home. I'd say Mum would be onto him. Off to bed early, Junior. It's a bit of a head explosion, unfortunately, and Korea have been let off the hook massively here by Hong Kong. Backing themselves in for a try. Could have gone to a 7-point lead off the boot of Rosley.
Ooh, and he got a bit of a banana on the go there, and he pulled it back into play, so he'll say that was all meant to be. And it's line out time right now on the 5 metre. Hong Kong, and Craig Hammond stands up in front of us. He's licking his lips over something like this, the forwards coach. Dane Jans there just getting warmed up on the sideline as they try and set something. The Koreans have sacked it down. They keep it off the ground. Post has got it at the back. Slatum comes away with it. Gives it to Rosley. He's an inch short. Tries to go again. They're right there. Slatum's having a look. Is someone running hard and straight? Yes, it is. Off his wing comes Connor Hartley for try number 2. He's got white line fever, has Hartley, and he dots down for Hong Kong's second try there after some good pressure from the forwards.
Well, lacked a bit of rhyme or reason, didn't it? But the method and the outcome don't often have to match up. And Rosley to convert this right in front of the sticks. What's awareness though from Hong Kong to keep the ball close to the gain line? That's the difference, I think, between the team leading or having a crack at the world top 20 and the opposition.
Rosley, no trouble from that distance as Ben Higgins leaves the field, and we're going to get a look at some of the substitutions now as we just look at Hartley there, and no one was going to stop him from there, and the big replacement Lock just back on his heels.
Clever ball too from Liam Slater, just into space nicely, beautifully weighted, hung there for the big man to get onto. And the Korean defenders, well, they were beaten for all money, to be fair. It's unfortunate. But there's the pressure, there are the points, Grant. Now, Korea are going to have to get their hands deep into the pocket and pull out something.
Hong Kong has substituted the entire front row, so we've got Dane Jans, Dan Barlow and Jack Parfitt on the field. Here goes Boko. He's had a workmanlike effort so far in this first 50 minutes. And that's a good exit from Hong Kong. Rosley just pumps that one down into the Korean half. Lee Jo Bok, good technique there, just angling his body away from the sideline there. Dropped it, but it went backwards, and he puts that one about 1 metre too short there, and he gets on top of Rosley, and the Korean forwards come in. Can they turn it over here? They both look interested, and eventually the referee decides that he'll go with Hong Kong on that attempt. Jack Parfitt for Grant Kemp, and we talked to Parfitt this morning at breakfast. He's 120 kilos in the program. He's said that was an aspirational weight as he looks forward to getting his summer junk body going. So they haven't lost a kilo there with Kemp off and Parfitt on for his 28th cap, most capped player out there. Dane Jans with his first line out, the Hong Kong Scottish hooker. And at the front of the line out there in 17, you'll see Dan Barlow from the Tigers Club. He's on for his 14th cap.
Some good mobility they've brought onto the park with Dan Barlow. He's a front row forward that can cover some real metres. Dane Jans, well, for those of you familiar with Hong Kong Premiership Rugby, Dane Jans, the man they call Danger. Great all-round game. And the task doesn't get any easier for that man and his side.
The average age difference on the two substitute front rows is 9 years difference. Jans 30, Barlow 32. Parfitt, the youngster there, only 26. And it'll be fireworks if the Korean substitute front row come on. It'll be the old against the new. Referee's really having trouble with his training bra here today. Just packing some technology there. Finally, Jans will be, gets it up to Boko, nicely into the hands and off his wing. Oh, beautiful run from Harry Sayers. He's cutting them up here. He looks for the post. Can he go all the way? First phase ball, and Hong Kong go in for a terrifically worked try there. Neville on the inside to Sayers off his blind wing, and he's gone 40 metres on debut. And what a way to announce yourself on the international scene.
Well, Hong Kong just making it go click. Great ball from the top, but Ko did well. It's a little bit of deception at line out time, but what a run from Jack Neville. Angled out, snake-eyed the first defender, gave Harry Sayers and shot now just half a chance. You watch here. Pop ball, and like I said, when this guy's knees get flying, he is off and away. Still with some work to do. He's done well. Great wingers try. Well done.
Yeah, and he's a big fella, isn't he? He's 191 centimetres, 94 kilos. And that'll be one to remember for sure for him, and probably one of many. Rosley then about 5 metres to the right, 10 metres to the right of the right upright, and they've started to put a bit of a buffer now on Korea. No problem at all. So Korea now left with a bit of work to do to get themselves back into this match, and they can't really look to the bench for any impact. There's some fit, young, strong guys on the bench, but no real experience to come on and make a difference. 28 points to 10 now. Here come some of the subs. This is Kim Jin-yok. He's the only one on the bench that's not from the universities. He's from the Armed Forces Athletic Corps, 23-year-old.
Well, if Connor Hartley's try stung Korea, I think Harry Sauer's try has given them the wobbles.
Han Kim-in goes deep, and again it's Boko. He's been full of beans, the number 8. Looking for another clear exit here. Hong Kong, they take it out of the 22 this time. Slatum to Neville. Rossley, confident just to put it through a couple of sets of hands. Lee Jai Bok's ready for that one. He's got a couple players behind him. This time he puts it on the boot. He goes deep. Is it too deep? It's very deep. And if that rolls all the way, he'll be cross with himself, and it just stopped short. He didn't bother chasing it either, did Lee Jai Bok. He had no intention of chasing that. Hong Kong will start again with a 22. They go quick with a little one, catching the Koreans, napping. Dan Barlow with a run. Slams into the skipper. Na Kwon Young slows him down momentarily. Hong Kong wanting to get on with things here. Neville, that one's taken back, and Lee Jai Bok has to attack this one. He comes forward, takes it nicely, gets into the Hong Kong half. They're a bit slow to get numbers to the ball, the Koreans. Here goes Yang Dae-yong up to the halfway now. They don't need to panic, the Koreans. They don't need to lose their shape. Just stick to the game plan. Here's a guy we've not seen enough, Jang Song-min. Gets his way to the halfway line, and that looks forward to me. The pass to Lee Hugh-song was forward, unnecessary, but good pressure though from the Hong Kong defensive line.
Very impressive defence by Hong Kong. You can see them leading out wide, shutting off the outside option. Korean attack is not really reading the situation very well. Certainly by the time the ball gets to the second receiver, the options are cut down. There's no time or space to really achieve anything. Look at that great bootlace tackle by Jack Neville. That's how you do it, kids.
Just a forearm to the face there, I think, for Lee Jai Bok, nothing more. There's another Korean in back play with a bit of cramp. I think it's the big lock, Yang Tae-yong. And are they starting to wobble here under this pressure? There's still 25 minutes left to go in this game. There's an 18-point buffer. 3 tries to 1. Ref wants to get on with it, but there's a second rower still getting himself sorted. Off comes Lee Jai Bok, 15, so it creates an opportunity for one of these university youngsters. There he is. It's Baek Jong-young from Yonsei University. And they were quite effective, weren't they? Some of these youngsters, Jed, in Malaysia coming on towards the end of the game. I think he was one of them that was a real dynamo. We didn't see too much of the front rows. Here we go now, look at that. The Hong Kong scrum is just machine. Rossley gives it a little show and go. Be next to the Barrett was looking for the pass there. Cunningham goes in. Counter-rucking there is a little bit lethargic from the Koreans. Now they're showing all sorts of vim and vigour. Dan Barlow gets on the loose and coming on around. There's a good tackle on him though. Good shot from Kim Jin-yok. Takes down the big Tigers prop. Sullivan with a run. They're inside the Korean half now. Ben Exton Barrett keeps his feet. Looks for Rossley. Straightening at his fin field. And Slatum slice sniping. This is what he can do. He gets taken down by Lee Ming-yun. Koreans are getting back slowly behind the ball, and there's a man down in back play for the Koreans. Hong Kong's turn now to show a bit of patience. They've broken the line. Koreans have re-steadied themselves. Neville is a very short and sharp ball to Callum McCulloch. What a line from him. That was terrific. Something's got to break here for the Koreans. Rosley goes wide. Sayers gets on the outside. Holding on was bagged. Got to be 15 phases here. The Koreans are going to start to feel this. Finn Field, short ball to Parfitt, who in turn gets the hands free back to Field. They're just 6 metres out now as Slatham tries to protect the ball, but the Koreans are over the top and they've turned it. Cha Sung Kun there was a little bit frustrated with Neville, and they've done well after all that to soak up that pressure and turn it over.
Well, good awareness by the Korean defenders to just take the opportunity there when it arose, and they collapsed on the ball, created the turnover, and that's some magnificent pressure from Hong Kong. Starting to find each other now. This combination slowly growing over the last 58 minutes.
So Korea, they don't make a lot of distance with that clearance, so they'll be about 20 metres inside their half of the field. Some substitutions here. On comes the huge frame of Craig Lodge from the Tigers Club. 2 metres tall, this guy. Tallest man out there.
The man they call Lodgy, replacing Cole Sullivan. Very, very strong 60-minute performance out of Sullivan. Good to see him back on the track too. He was a little bit touch and go with injuries. He had the bad leg injury that took him right out of the reckoning. But he's fought back well. He's put himself back in the framework. And certainly coaches like Craig Hammond will be breathing a sigh of relief. They've got some horses like him. Still great week by the Korea to work themselves out of the trouble they were in and see if they can string something together.
Kim Ji goes to the back, but they've mistimed it. Neville now puts on a bit of footwork, and Boko, as always, is on his shoulder. Those two have been into everything. Cunningham with the quick hands, Fan with the quick hands, and coming on at absolute terrifying speed. It's Altea, and on debut, the young fullback is on the end of some very good handwork, some great skills, finding the space wide, and they sizzle in for a big sausage there, Jed.
Well, nothing like a sizzling sausage, Grant. But that is a very fine score from loose ball. They claimed it off the line out. Jack Neville, devastatingly direct. Connor Hartley, probably shaped, he was thinking maybe for the hat trick. But here he is, young Paul Altea, as every fullback should be looking to do, turn up at the right time. International try on debut for the young man. It's a big moment for the player and his family and his club back in Hong Kong. Everyone should be feeling pretty chuffed with that. Didn't he come onto it well too? He come out of it like a bolt.
Yeah, it was perfect. Oh, he steamed down the wing there, and the pass was good from Hartley. You're right, I thought he had hat-trick all across his forehead there.
I'm pretty sure he was having a look at it. I'm pretty serious. Well, we better check with him after the game, but I reckon he was having a good old look.
Very unselfish. You're right though, it means a lot when you see guys come through your junior section and you see how rugby's shaped them, and to see them on the tally scoring tries like that, it brings a warmness to your heart. And Rosley from right out wide has put it down the middle, so the momentum is completely with Hong Kong now, and this could be a proper blowout if Hong Kong carry on this sort of urgency, this sort of hunger. And you're right, it's been a game that's sort of seen Hong Kong just feeling their way into the series. 35-10 now. The result here last year was 30 points to 21. As I said, Korea, well, they can look to the bench for fitness only, really. Slatham takes it on the full, and again, looks up with Boko. He's been contender for man of the match for me, Boko, so far. Very good link play. Neville shook off that injury early on, and he's been running the show. Oh, and the replacement fullback can't take it, Bag Jong-gung. Hands it back to Hong Kong in his own half, and that's a terrible mistake.
It's terrible, isn't it? It's when it goes wrong, it goes terribly wrong. When you're an outside, when you're trying to take those deep balls, there's nowhere to hide. Absolutely nowhere to go.
To be fair, he was running onto that at full pace, and he just had a look up. It's very tempting to do. There was no one really coming at him within 10 metres. He had time. And so here we are, just inside the Korean half. Expect another big push here from this replacement front row here. Parfitt on this side. Jane Jan just lifting a shirt there, giving the viewers at home a good shot there of his summer junk body. Nice and low, but he's too low. He's up against Na Kwon Wong. He's been out there for 61 minutes. There's a second replacement on in the second row for the Koreans. So an all-new second row for Korea right now. Number 19, Park Yi-chan is on there, 23-year-old out of Yonsei University. We haven't seen enough of Jang Seong-min and Kim Nam-ok in the midfield from the Koreans. They haven't really had much chance. The little we have seen of them, they set some good targets early on, and that scrum goes down. It's a fresh front row against an possibly very tiring front row of the Koreans, and it goes down too easy there, and they're allowing Rosley to ping him back now with this penalty kick.
Hong Kong slowly growing in stature in this game, minute by minute. The system's starting to come on stream. Rosley puts him down in the corner again. He was being a little bit generous. He's now paired up in the midfield with Lewis Warner, who really is a try scoring. Very elusive runner.
They've got a move on here around the short side. Dane Jans gets nudged over the touchline there, so well defended in the end, but saw a smile on the face of there. Dane Jans, the two very old friends, Jans and Sladen.
Well, he was threatening in the breakfast room this morning, Dane Jans, about bringing out the kicking game. Ample opportunity to maybe just nudge that one forward off the toe and sprint around the defenders.
Kim Jeep goes to the back there and manages to find Kim Johan, the flanker. Can they exit from this one now? It's the fullback, Bag Jong-yun, puts that down nice and deep. He finds the touchline, so good exit from Korea on this occasion. Still inside their own half though, and there's going to be a couple more subs here.
Skipper off. Bryn Phillips joins the match from the Kowloon club. Robbie Keith, USRC Tigers, the playmaker, goal kicker extraordinaire.
And Chris Pierpont's on in 21 as well, coming on for his third cap today. Here is Phillips at standoff. Neville moves out into the midfield. That's Lewis Warner there, holding the ball up. Man from Kowloon on for his third cap as well. And again, Korea almost gifted an opportunity there. Kim Nam-ok, though, couldn't take it. He picked up a couple of intercepts against Malaysia, which turned the momentum, but not going his way today, Kim Nam-ok.
Well, that was an old one, wasn't it? It just came off the straight kick and somehow almost fell into favourable space for the home side.
Just about 15 minutes remaining. Yet another scrum here. More pressure for this Korean front row. Phillips with the ball in hand. Just his third cap as well. So a chance here to continue blooding some of these new players like Phillips, Warner, Pierpont, Craig Lodge. Perfect time to do it. And behind a dominant scrum too. And it's a bit messy, but Phillips clears it straight to Rosley, skipping out Neville. Phillips looks sharp, he's a live wire. Cunningham still going hard after 65 minutes. Neville now gets onto the front foot. Hartley now one-on-one. Across comes Jongyon Sekto and helps out the fullback, and together they get the big man across the sideline. Well teamed up there, the Korean defence.
Yeah, well covered by Korea. Good play though by Hong Kong. They're starting to really get on the front foot. See them working their sequences off the set piece. On that occasion they're up to the task. Could you forgive Connor Hartley for thinking every time he's going to get the ball he's going to score a try? He sort of seems to. One of those guys.
On come a couple of these young substitutions. Number 18, Kang Sung-hyuk, just 20 years old, going into the front row against the wily old combatants. Opposite him, 125 kilos. Penalty at the line out against Hong Kong, so a chance just to let off some pressure here. Trailing by 25 points, you've got to say the game is probably gone 4 scores, so they've just got to continue getting something out of these games where they're not going to take the W today, but they're blooding a lot of young new players. Good kick downfield, they're right on the halfway now. Kim Jeep with the throw. Up goes Choi Sung-jok, the 20-year-old, fresh on the field. Off his wing comes Jongyon Sik. Looking sharp. Kim Nam-mook there gets one right on the gain line. Incredibly under pressure. Kim Nam-mook comes back though and makes up for his mistake, but no advantage. They don't come much flatter than that.
Well, there we go. You've lost the going forward. Now, comes back the other way and lost the going backwards.
Rotley was a bit caught out there. He come flying out the line and knew he couldn't tackle Kim Nam-mook earlier, but he'd done enough to get in his eye line and make it difficult for him. Yet another scrum to Hong Kong here. Got a bit of a blind to the left if they can turn it that way. Rosley and Hartley. Robbie Keith and Neville directly behind the scrum.
I think Hong Kong might have let go to foot here and send it downtown.
They don't need to though. It's just a string of penalties at the scrum at the moment. And there's going to be a talking to the skipper, Na Kwon Young. He does speak a little bit of English, but oh no, he's actually a Japanese speaker. Plays at Kubota Spears, so it's a Japanese conversation. The global game of rugby. So surely Rosley will just wally this downfield again and set for another line out deep inside the Korean half. Really gone for the mileage on this one, and he's found it. That is pinpoint accuracy from the veteran.
Well, it helps, doesn't it, when you've got the confidence and the experience to go for it. It's also you've got a little shoulder of wind too. If we look at the flags on the far side, it's all operating in its favour. Let's see how Hong Kong can finish off.
Chance to Cunningham, peeling around the short side is Boko. They've managed to keep him up though. They're getting towards the line. They're over. The assistant referee is on all fours. And the main man with the whistle is in there, and he's seen enough to say it was held up. So I don't know how they stopped that one. It was the substitute prop there. Kang Sun-yuk getting the congratulations, but well worked off the line out.
He deserves congratulations. He's done well to get himself in the right spot. Caught Baco's. Baco was trying to drop down and get the drive on, kept him up, got the body between the ball and the ground. Standing weak by the front row forward, mind you, it's to be expected though from a prop. The props go way above themselves in terms of effort most of the time.
He
So
gets another chance here too.
exciting piece of play.
Can we expect Hong Kong to consider going for a pushover here? They've won penalty after penalty, but I'm sure they'd love to keep this one up off the ground and nab themselves a front row try. Koreans sense it too, and they've gone in hard to that engagement.
Playing with fire here in Korea. No time like the present for a bit of a shutdown, though. Maybe a breather, a reset.
Kim Jeep, who's slow off the ground. He's gone 70 minutes. If they were playing Malaysia, I'm sure he would have taken a rest by
Get through
now.
them.
And it's relentless and ruthless from Hong Kong. Barlow, Parfitt and Jans are just enjoying this too much. It's like a day at Disney. Mark Kwan Yong against Jack Parfitt here. Barlow against Lee Kusan. They wait for the second shove. Hong Kong. Oko adjusts his head. Phillips says, let's get it out. He fumbles it on the ground, and good alertness from the Korean number 8 there to get on top of him. So foiled at first attempt. Phillips has another go, and the forwards come around the corner. Lodge loses his headgear, and Barlow goes into scrum half, gives it to his mate Parfitt. It's very slow. Barlow again, going in there like Benny Elias at scrum half. And Phillips quite content to let the forwards have their way there. Let them play their little games. Oh, wide, very wide there to Rosley. Takes out 2 or 3 defenders, 5 or 6 metres out now. Phillips scamps around, held up by Jong Yon Sik there. Good defence from the Koreans. Taken up there too with the blindside flanker Kim Yo-han. Another tackle by Kim. Here come this front row. They're eager for something, aren't they? They want to get in on the score sheet here at the front row, and eventually they knock it forward, but illegally done so on the floor there, says the referee.
Well, Hong Kong just searching for the magic thread at the moment. I think with the belief that if they can get it and give it a significant tug, the curtain might come down on Korea today. Certainly established a good strong lead. They're really starting to pile the pressure on Hong Kong. Korea's credit though,
Time off. Tough.
they've been pretty miserly. Competitive through the forward pack, they do find themselves back wheeling.
Time off.
Kim Jeep does get a rest finally, the hooker, and on comes Yu Jamin, 21-year-old from Yonsei University. So Dane Jans will have the sun in his eyes here as he looks for the killer blow. To the back to Lodge, takes it nicely. They set a good pod here. Very good structure. The Koreans are on the ground. They keep it up off the ground, Hong Kong. They work it towards the post there. Not sure he's got it. They're over the line. Surely this is a try. And it's Dane Jans who's peeled around and joined that melee and finishes it off right next to the post there. And that is a killer blow for the Koreans.
Well, the call would have been danger close. And then he goes, first try for the Hong Kong Scottish rake. Caused a few lips to move when he made the decision to leave the Happy Valley for the Rock. And you think a smart move by Jan, certainly improved the premiership overall. That's a good try. for Jans. Good drive by Hong Kong. Simple stuff.
Yeah, the big boys in there, the whole front row there. Up at front was Parfitt and Barlow, and the Koreans had no chance. Rosley then, with one of his easiest kicks of the day, dots it down the middle, and still with 5 or 6 minutes left here at Namdong Asiad Stadium. They'll have their eyes on 50. Hong Kong with one more score, you'd suspect. 42-10. The Malaysians will be watching this. They'll be hosting Hong Kong, and they'll be coming to Hong Kong next week, in fact, to play at the football club. Brad Meeker and co have to come up with a game plan. Connor Hartley here stands up in the tackle strong. Slayed him to Parfitt. He puts his head down and his knees and his elbows and puts everything into that one. Coming on now at pace. Rosley's got Hartley outside him, doesn't use him. Phillips is there. Barlow, how dynamic has this front row replacement been? Parfitt and Barlow under everything. Char's knocked that on there. That'll go down as another handling error for the Koreans. Probably 12 or 13 now.
Well, I don't know if you call it handling error, it's a spoiling play, wasn't it? That's about all they've really got left for them. Now, Korea in these final 4 minutes, 5 minutes I should say, of regulation time. That's how desperate they are just to stop Hong Kong from getting any kind of rhythm and swing.
On comes another big youngster. This time it's Lee Hyun-soo in 17. Also, Yonsei University, 120 kilos of him. What country in the world, Jed, would have a replacement front row that young? It's normally a position that's reserved for blokes in their late 20s.
Well, it's a young man's game, isn't it? Long gone are the craggy toothed front rows that you and I got started with, Grant.
No, they're still
Siggy at half time.
If they can keep them together, and if they've got this aggressive program of bringing through these young students in 4 or 5 years, the next World Cup cycle, that's what they'll be thinking. Everybody's thinking in 4-year cycles now. Three and a half minutes remaining. Kim Mook has moved out to the left wing now, with Kim Jin-hyuk coming in to play outside centre as Phillips just tries to get a steady platform to work from. They walk it forward, Hong Kong, and very good work around the back, but illegally. Phillips gets off and goes. Good go. Look at this from the young scrum half. Good run by him. The Koreans struggling to get back behind the ball. They've slowed it down though. It's good work. Nicely off the ground, but into the hands of Korea. Lewis Warner there with the speculator. Here come the Koreans now. Here's Kim Mook. Beats the first one. Taken without the ball, it looks like there. That was lodged with the early tackle. Referee lets it go. Going back is Yu Jamin, replacement hooker, and he's botched that one on the field there.
You can't play the ball off your feet.
A real pig's dinner of that. I think Lodge was lucky to get away with that.
Play from Lewis Warner. Hacked the ball upfield. Female watchers of the game in Hong Kong will be happy to realise it's just an injury to Harry Sayer's hand. Really a bit of a pin-up boy. Mind you, he's a winger.
Ross Lee pumps the corner, and here we go again. A very familiar look about it. Referee comes Comes back. Harry Sayers is still on the ground. Hong Kong may have run out of substitutes. Looks like Altea is warming up to come back on again if needed.
Yeah, it's the skillful hands of Amanda Baker there, doing a wonderful job. Player of the week from the commentary team's point of view.
Definitely up there, MVP. Two minutes remain. It's Kim the Mook. Watch this pass here. He definitely gets taken without the ball there by Lodge. Never mind. He was a great anticipation. Jans doesn't get it right with Finn Field. Sorry, Lodge it was. And the Koreans, another lead off there.
Hard target to miss, isn't he? Craig Lodge, he's a big man. We haven't weighed in here. Right, 2 metres plus.
Yep, 2 metres. 2 kilos. Korea now trying to make something. I'm sure these youngsters that are on are just happy to be out there and running with the ball. They've turned it over though. Phillips goes to ground as Jiang Song Min gets him around the ankles. Rossley goes in. They're into the final minute here. A bit of patience. We'll see them possibly score again. Rossley tries to show and go, but Choi Seong Dok was alert to that one. Cunningham keeps on going. Perfect line on top of that one. It's not easy to wrench out. Look at Kim the Mook come flying out of the ropes there. It's Robbie Keith. Puts the fend on. Takes on another one. Might have given it to Harry Sayers there for a brace, but he's a metre short now. Phillips to Barlow. Oh, and he gets absolutely poleaxed there by Lee Jun Soo. Coming over the top. Good gang tackle. Still Hong Kong. Hartley looking for 3. Hartley, what's he doing there? The left winger. He's come right in, right on the hooter, and he bags 3 for Hong Kong. Gives it the monocle. And that wraps up a pretty accomplished performance by him and this Hong Kong side here. Under the post for 5 more.
Well, he must be under some sort of amnesty at the moment. Connor Hartley, there's 3 and he's set one up as well. Clever play, good awareness, got up close to the gain line, came off his position, he knows how to find a gap. And what's more, Hong Kong know how to put him in the gap too. Good try by Hartley. Precious score. I thought Robbie Keith, he had his eyes on the line. Why wouldn't you? It's a bit of a points feast.
Yeah, it was a great fend by Hartley. Oh, how about that?
What a charge. Outstanding work. Oh, Korea. Yes, they do unpredictable beautifully here, don't they? That's a fair effort too. Great stuff.
Down but not out. They charge right to the last moment there. And I'm sure that's got to be one of the young university fellows who's furious with what's happened here, and he's given it 100 right till the end. And it's handshakes all around here at Nam Dong Asiad Stadium. We've seen a good hit out here by the Hong Kong side. They make it 6 tries at least. And the Koreans, well, I'd say they haven't really moved on from where they were against the Malaysians in round 1 and 2. Final score here at the Rugby Stadium. Hong Kong 47, the hosts Korea 10. We'll come with you shortly with a couple of highlights and after-match speeches. But Jed, how are you summing up this effort here for today? Hong Kong's first appearance in this year's tournament.
I have to say it's a pretty impressive first up performance by Hong Kong. They started the game with selection fairly light in caps. I think we've made the point early on. They did very, very well. As we watch here, Connor Hartley with the first of his 3. And there's a pattern occurring here. I think all the video analysis for Malaysia will be, watch out for that guy. And this bloke here, Harry Sayers. Beautiful ball from Jackie Neville to put him in the gap. Back on the inside, superbly won line-out ball from Kane Bako. That's how you want to see your wingers finishing tries. Connor Hartley, he dished it out. There's one for the debutant. I'll be happy in the valley with that one. That's a great result for Paul Altier. Welcome to Big Boy Code. What about this one? Up the jumper stuff. Dane Jans with his score. This is where Hong Kong really started to go to work on Korea. And they were lacking the answers. Poor old Connor Hartley goes in again. Here it is. That's the final try of the game. And he's smiling all right. You can count him. 1, 2, 3 for the big winger.
And there we go, the stats of the game. 6 tries to 1. 4 of those converted. Rosley with some early penalties. And Korea, well, they look good. They always look good with that first try. And they just couldn't follow up from there. And for me, just a bit disappointing that they've not used that talented midfield. Handling errors for Korea, 12, and 12 penalties conceded. Big difference there. 91 tackles they had to make. Hong Kong there, well, look, 81 phases. Quite a lot of kicks in play, and they run out winners. 47 points to 10 here. So we're going sideline now with Liam Slatham, the Hong Kong skipper.
Liam, congratulations on a successful start and campaign here, 50 points on Korea. How does that compare an extra 10 minutes after Global Rapid Rugby?
Look, physicality, the physicality was up there, so physically I think that extra 10 minutes probably hurts the body a bit more, but I think, you know, the speed of the game probably in the first half wasn't as quick as we were used to, but we tried to pick the speed up for the second half, and yeah, we obviously came away with the result, but we played some nice rugby in the second half, so we're happy with that.
And what will your focus now be moving forwards? Because obviously you've got Malaysia at home next week in Hong Kong in front of your own fans, but they've had a couple of losses, so how will you now focus for next week's game, considering this win today?
Yeah, we'll take the win back. We are obviously, you know, happy to come out of Korea with 5 points, with a bonus point, but we really want to, you know, we're going to reset. We're going to look at Malaysia. We're going to do our homework, and we're going to go in there for a new challenge. You know, we're not writing off Malaysia. We want to go home, and we want to, you know, put on a good show for the fans. So looking forward to it.
Okay, well, congratulations and good luck this week, and we'll see you next week in Hong Kong.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Thanks,
Liam Slatham there with tournament director Matt Oakley. And so here are the standings. Hong Kong get their first run out and pick up the full 5 points there, and a big 47 points. And Malaysia there on the bottom. Korea still on top, of course, but they're going to have to pick up a win now in that final match, round 6, if they want to have any chance of winning this tournament. So Hong Kong not underestimating the Malaysians. Next week it will be the Malaysians coming to Hong Kong, a 4 p.m. kickoff at the football club. Round 4, that'll be a big one for the Malaysians, travelling over to Hong Kong to measure up against this Hong Kong unit who will grow from here. Follow us on Facebook at asia.rugby, or you can join the fun on Instagram. And we are on Instagram at Asia Rugby Live. Lots of beautiful images and videos on all channels. And finally on Twitter, you can get involved at Asia Rugby. So there we have it. Thank you for joining us here today in Korea for this round 3 fixture. It's Hong Kong have come away 47 points to 10, laying down a marker as they get their campaign underway. Hope you'll join us in a week's time. On behalf of Jet Thine and myself, thank you for joining us, and goodbye.